Over the school field the teacher yells for everyone to run faster because their final grades depend on this effort. Leading the pack, Ringo pushes his limits while thinking that he will definitely succeed during this attempt. Glancing at the sidelines, the boy notices a worried girl watching him and she seems very nervous about the situation. Behind the protagonist, a pair of bullies laugh while preparing to mess with the runners during the race. One of the jerks mocks the athlete for trying so hard and calls his effort almost touching in a mean way. Suddenly several students transform into beasts and trample the poor guy because he cannot change like them. While he is on the ground, a rat-like attacker kicks him for being in the way and blocking the path. Lying flat on the track, the hero is mocked by everyone since he is the only person who cannot transform. Seeing the fall, the coach yells out to check if the teen is okay while his female friend looks on in horror. Coughing on the floor, the young man realizes the last hit was aimed at his head, but luckily he blocked it. Trying to stay calm, the main character decides to bite his tongue and endure the pain without complaining to anyone. Looking at the mess on the floor, the classmate screams in shock because the injury looks pretty bad. Those annoying guys continue to tease him for being hurt and even ask if he has the guts to start a fight right now. Knowing it is just a trap to get him in trouble, the victim decides to just stay away from those jerks for now. After asking for permission to go to the infirmary, the protagonist walks away while the enemy calls him a coward. A terrifying monster laughs while promising to make its victim crawl and beg for mercy later tonight. In this world, people gain massive power by linking with creatures through a process called beast transformation. Sitting alone, the boy explains that everyone at school can change into a warrior except for him. Deep inside, he feels a strange energy calling his name, so he decides to wait for a certain person to arrive. Suddenly a voice shouts at him and we see the teenager looking up with a very serious expression. Standing over him, a girl mocks his poor performance and demands that he should hurry up and kneel down. Boasting about her small 1% power level, she laughs because she finally found someone weaker than her. Ignoring the insults, the protagonist asks for his milk, and this completely shocks the loud student. While drinking, he mentions that she always brings snacks to cheer him up, so she asks what her next line is. She claims that she wanted to fight his bullies, but a random stomach ache stopped her from helping him. Looking excited, she hopes he awakens as a legendary creature, even though he thinks she reads too many stories. Confused by his situation, the girl wonders how such a smart person still cannot manage to change shape. Staring ahead, the young man explains that being observant is just his way of staying safe in this world. Offering some help, she invites him to a group to learn 365 ways to transform tonight. Making a weird face, the boy wonders if a person like her is actually capable of leading a study session. Feeling tired, the main guy decides to leave so he can finally get some sleep. Unexpectedly, a hand grabs his shirt while he attempts to walk away from the scene. Looking back, he notices the cat girl crying while she begs him to stay. Biting her lip in pain, she tries to hide her face as tears fall down. Suddenly she bursts out laughing and reveals that the whole thing was just a prank. Teasing him one last time, she tells the boy to try and catch up with her later. Standing alone in the street, the youth watches her figure disappear into the distance. Later that night, the girl enters a dark forest where someone is already waiting for her. Holding a dead animal, two scary men ask why she did not bring the protagonist along. Trying to protect her friend, she lies and says that he stayed home because of a stomach ache. Getting angry at her response, the white-haired thug slaps her face with a lot of power. Grinning wickedly, he explains that they need special supplements to boost their beast power. Showing their monstrous eyes, the villains start thinking about what to have for a late-night snack. Terrified by their threats, the poor girl can only stare in shock while they surround her. Suddenly a loud shout from the security office echoes through the trees and stops the attack. Panicked and running through the dark forest, the cat girl tries to escape her pursuers. Suddenly a hand reaches out and grabs her while someone tells her to stay quiet. Surprised by the situation, the protagonist asks about the study group while the little girl cries. Crouching in the shadows, the young man tells her they should talk later and escape first. Dropping a phone on the ground, a loud recording about the security office starts playing. Realizing it was just a trick, the white beast screams in anger at the fake audio. Looking around, the two monsters wonder where the targets disappeared to. Hiding behind the thick leaves, the duo waits for the right moment to move. Standing before them, a beautiful girl with long hair asks what they are doing. Recognizing the newcomer, the hero shouts for his friend to move out of the way. Flying through the air, the poor girl hits a tree after a sudden blast. Laying on the ground with dizzy eyes, the small girl is completely knocked out. Smiling at the chaos, the lady is greeted with respect by the beastly follower. Trapped by purple webs, the boy realizes his enemies are actually working together. Licking her lips, the creepy woman says he is very interesting despite being weak. The spider monster laughs while smelling the sweet scent of his blood. Trapped by the thin threads, the young man tries to cut himself free with a small blade. Seri mocks his effort because her silk is stronger than steel and continues her relentless assault. While enduring the pain, the protagonist screams as he tries to find a way out of this trap. Opening her mouth wide, the creature threatens to finish him off and drink his life away. Showing a determined look, the fighter refuses to give up despite the terrible situation he faces. Using all his strength, the boy forces his limb against the threads until he finally breaks loose. Shocked by the sudden movement, the monster watches as her prey escapes through the dark woods. The nearby watchers are stunned that he would actually sacrifice a part of himself just to survive. Running deep into the forest, the wounded survivor leaves a trail behind while trying to stay ahead. Furious at the escape, the spider lady orders her minions to chase him down immediately. Gasping for air, the exhausted hero feels his strength fading while the world starts to blur. Knowing he might bleed out soon, the young man wonders if this path is truly his final destination. Stumbling through the shadows, he keeps moving forward even though every single step is a struggle. Suddenly a mysterious sensation calls to him from the distance and points toward a hidden light. One reaching out with a sharp claw, the blue beast thinks he finally caught the prey. 2 jumping off the high cliff, the desperate boy decides to risk everything instead of getting caught. 3 falling through the dark air, the young man hits the hard ground while bleeding from the impact. For standing on the edge of the mountain, the enemies call him crazy because they need to find him soon. 5 hiding near a creepy metal gate, the injured protagonist tries to catch his breath in the dark forest. 6 noticing a long trail of blood, the group realizes the target crawled inside the spooky building. 7 entering the mysterious area, the girl tells the others to shut up and just follow her lead. 8 walking through the massive abandoned lab, they follow the red marks on the floor toward the center. 9 looking very serious, the girl focuses on the path ahead while her companions stay close behind. 10 pointing toward a bright red light, the group finally spots where the boy is hiding in the shadows. 11 seeing something impossible, their eyes go wide while they all let out a huge gasp of surprise. 12 emerging from the darkness, a giant dragon stares down at the small human standing right in front of it. 13 stuttering in total fear, the enemies can barely speak because the scene before them is terrifying. 14 screaming about the legendary beast, the girl remembers that dragons were wiped out 20 years ago. 15 glowing with a strange power, the boy asks if the monster called him while the villains try to attack. Suddenly a sharp attack comes out of nowhere and someone shouts for Ringo to watch out before she gets hit. Looking hurt and bleeding, the girl hears an apology from someone who feels bad for tricking her into this trap. While the poor girl is falling through the air, the monster tells the brat to stay out of the way of its hunt. Furious flames begin to swirl around the boy as Ringo watches with wide eyes while his power starts to explode. Now transformed into a powerful beast, the hero holds the injured girl close to protect her from any more harm. Screaming in absolute pain, the monster feels the intense heat and wonders why everything is burning so fast. Terrified by the sight, the enemies shout that he turned into a dragon and they can't believe what they are seeing. Running for their lives, the thugs realize they messed with the wrong person and try to escape as fast as possible. Setting her down gently, the protagonist tells the girl to stay put because he is going to finish the fight alone. Moving like a blue blur, the hero dashes towards the cowards so they don't have a single chance to get away. Reaching the first guy, the dragon man remembers that he was the one who slapped him earlier and looks very angry. Trembling with fear, the thug stares at the monster because he knows that his end is coming very soon. Desperate to survive, the other guy screams that he never touched him while trying to beg for his pathetic life. Glaring at the coward, the hero mentions that he still hit him on the head and prepares to deliver some payback. Confused and scared, the enemy doesn't know what to do as the dragon boy closes in to end this once and for all. Standing amidst the bodies, the blue monster complains about the heat while walking away from his fallen enemies. Looking like a total mess, the creature screams out that her friend was wrong about everything that happened. telling him that he can make her do anything. The silhouette tries to tempt the hero with a very dark offer. Shedding her outer shell, the spider girl plans to escape and let 1,000,000 spiders finish off the old dragon. Smiling like a villain, the blue guy promises to turn his opponent into the lowest type of servant imaginable. Opening her eyes wide in shock, the girl wonders how the monster managed to read her mind so easily. Quickly using his long tail, the shadowy fighter strikes the escaping girl before she can even get away. Grabbing her easily, the demonic man asks why she ever thought escaping his sight was even possible this time. The impact is so strong that her face is pressured while she lets out a pained sound from the heavy hit. Turning his back on the girl, the fighter says he will not even bother looking at her anymore. Feeling the energy leave his body, the warrior notices that his special demonic power is starting to fade away. Returning to his normal human form, the young man looks down with a very tired and sad expression. Facing a massive creature of flames, the boy listens as the beast asks if he acts this way because death is near. Roaring with pure intensity, the giant fire creature fills the entire area with its bright and burning light. Staring back with glowing red eyes, the hero shows that he still has some fight left inside his tired soul. Above a strange egg, a small flame flickers while the word Nirvana appears to signal the start of something new. Looking at his bruised hands, the young man realizes this was the gift intended for him all along. Holding the massive shell tight, the protagonist notices a glowing red eye peeking through a dark crack. Outside the tall brick building, a loud scream echoes through the air because someone just woke up. Standing near the bunk beds, the boy calmly tells the girl she is finally awake after being knocked out. Clutching her head in pain, the confused lady asks where they are while feeling her entire body ache. Explaining the situation, he says they are in his room because no one else is willing to live with him. Suddenly the girl screams in terror while covering herself because she thinks something bad happened. With a totally bored expression, the main character quickly denies her wild claims to calm her down. Thinking back to the previous night, she recalls a dragon saving her but then laughs it off as a dream. Feeling very tired, the cat girl decides to go back to sleep instead of worrying about her crazy memory. Watching her rest, the boy considers hiding the beast but decides there is no need to keep secrets. Approaching the bed, he tells the friend she was not dreaming and that he really did turn into a monster. Making a funny face, the young lady mocks his claim and asks if he is the one who is actually dreaming. Walking away, the protagonist admits his power is currently weak and he wants to find a way to regain his strength. MC holds the red creature and thinks he has to raise this little guy successfully to make things work. Looking closely at each other, the girl shows high energy while the main character stays totally calm and focused. Screaming with pure joy, the girl claims her heart is melting because she really wants to pet the tiny dragon. Considering that these beasts have been extinct for decades, they decide to keep this secret from the rest of the world. Standing together like a real family, the duo feels proud of their new partnership with the sleeping red monster. Confused by the family comment, the little girl wonders which one of them is supposed to be the father in this setup. Switching to a serious tone, the guy asks about a study group since a girl named Sherry has been missing for 3 days. Checking the phone, we see over 1,387 messages sent without receiving a single reply. Waiting outside her dorm all night, he even sang songs but nothing worked, so he fears something bad happened to her. Fearing the worst possible outcome, the boy thinks the girl might have found someone else to spend her time with. Panicking while a dark shadow looms over him, the character screams about the possibility of another man being involved. Crying like a baby on his secretary, the chairman says he cannot live without his precious girl and looks pathetic. Annoyed by the mess, the secretary threatens to end the boss if he keeps ruining his expensive clothes with tears. Starting an investigation, the serious man mentions that the target is interested in a student named Lin Qin. Suddenly the small dragon starts trembling in pain until it lets out a huge surprise that leaves everyone shocked. From today on, the boy must clean up after the dragon because they are like a family now and he cannot run away. Looking at the trembling red beast, the girl says it is probably hungry, so they need to find out what baby dragons eat. Since raising a kid is hard, they head to the school logistics department where an old beast tamer might know the answer. While searching for the old man, they meet a worker named Mai who is busy walking a huge pack of different dogs. Staring blankly, the main character remains silent as he tries to process the weird situation happening right in front of him. The worker explains that any young reptile or bird requires plenty of meat and protein to grow up healthy and strong. Suddenly the guy starts grilling some delicious food and invites the student to taste the flavor of their cooking service. Taking a bite of the grilled meat, the boy thinks it is so soft that it melts in his mouth while others watch him eat. Everyone joins in to eat the snacks and they all agree the food is amazing because of how tasty the grilled fish looks. The cat girl stuffs her face with as much food as possible and her cheeks bulge while she keeps chewing without a care. Shocked to see her there, the boy asks why she brought the hidden dragon out since they could get in big trouble if seen. She claims the little creature needs fresh air instead of being locked in a dorm, so she knows exactly what she is doing. Peeking out from the bag, the tiny dragon looks extremely happy while devouring the meat provided by its new friends. The student insists they must leave as soon as they finish their meal because being spotted would cause a massive problem. Looking serious, the protagonist realizes the dorm is not safe and he must find a better home for the dragon to grow up. Suddenly this weird guy gets too close while sniffing the main character, who starts feeling very uncomfortable. Surprise takes over as the young man realizes something strange is happening with this creepy stranger. Staring intensely, the intruder claims that he can smell a specific perfume coming off the hero. Continuing to sniff, he whispers a name called Sherry while the protagonist struggles to stay calm. Looking horrified, a girl nearby identifies the creepy man as the powerful chairman named Calm Wei. Thinking back, we see a glimpse of a muscular fighter who seems to be a real monster in battle. Shocked by this discovery, the hero realizes he is facing the leader of the mysterious study group. Earlier that day, the girl explained how this chairman is linked to many students vanishing from the school. Warning him, she mentions that Calm Wei uses a mental beast power to control anyone he wants. Back in the present, the protagonist finds himself frozen because of that terrifying mental control ability. Small and trembling, a tiny creature watches the scene unfold from the shadows near the boy. Quickly biting his hand, the little pet helps the fighter break free from the mental shackles. Realizing he can move again, the hero stays alert while trying to figure out his next move. Deciding to avoid a direct fight for now, the boy thinks of a way to calm the crazy guy down. Apparently the chairman is such a fan of Sherry that he would take 10 lives if he knew she was dead. The protagonist asks if the man is Chairman Calm Wei and mentions that Sherry talked about him before. Looking very angry, the official demands to know the boy's rank because he dared to call the lady by her name. Explaining that they are classmates, the hero says he wants to join the study group but needs official permission. The chairman looks completely shocked and asks himself if the girl really requested his approval for this. Giving a thumbs up, the young man claims that the girl talks about the head all the time to make him happy. Suddenly the powerful man starts crying with joy while shouting that the girl must be in love with him. Full of excitement, the boss thanks the student and immediately agrees to let him join the special group. Running around like a crazy person, the man tells everyone to prepare for a wedding banquet very soon. While the duo walks away, a mysterious guy with red glasses watches them from behind with a silent look. This observer realizes the boy was very smart to use the girl's name to hide his scent and trick the leader. Both of them look back with a serious face while sensing that someone is staring at their every move. Showing a creepy smile, the stranger seems interested in the skills of the new student he just met. Introducing himself as Vice Chairman Dai Shu, the man reaches out to welcome the pair into the organization. Accepting the greeting, the main character shakes hands with the shady officer despite feeling a bit nervous. Looking closely at his new member, the vice chairman asks if the boy really has no beast transformation powers. Gripping the hand of the protagonist, the big guy shows off his massive strength to intimidate him. Thinking to himself, the dark-haired boy realizes he is being tested, so he must play along for now. Meanwhile, the cat girl explains that this deputy is a kangaroo shifter who absolutely hates germs. Taking advantage of the grip, the young man secretly smears some gross cat mess on the rival's skin. Looking down with pure horror, the bully notices the brown stain and wonders what just happened. Apologizing with a straight face, the student says it is normal for a pet owner to have messy palms. Rubbing the gross stuff all over the man's head, the protagonist makes the germaphobe lose his mind. Exploding with rage, the kangaroo shifter lets out a massive punch to take revenge for the insult. Receiving the hit, the hero gets blown back while the impact from the blow destroys the floor. Standing tall, the muscular brute growls because he feels like a complete fool for being played. Spitting red fluid on the floor, the main character acts hurt while his friend runs over to assist. Whispering quietly, the boy tells her to demand money for medical bills instead of being worried. Screaming at the top of her lungs, the cat girl calls the attacker a monster for hitting a weakling. Watching the drama unfold, the crowd starts to judge the muscular man for his cruel actions against kids. Feeling the social pressure, the bully realizes he just got scammed and looks totally frustrated. Throwing a bunch of cash at the girl, the rich guy shouts for her to take the money for medical expenses. Happily holding the bills, she suggests they head straight to the hospital because of his injuries. Pointing at his face, the youth reveals the red stuff is just spicy sauce he grabbed from a food stall. Feeling relieved, the partner laughs because the performance was perfect enough to trick that wealthy man. Even though he took a hit, the boy feels his skin is getting tough like a bunch of dragon scales. Sitting together, they start counting the money they managed to get from that rich target. Sorting the cash, he puts some aside for the pet dragon snacks and some brand new toys. Handing over a nice stack, the leader tells his friend to go buy herself something tasty to eat. Seeing the money, her eyes sparkle with pure joy and she looks incredibly happy with the reward. Walking away with a huge grin, she counts the notes while the main boy watches from behind. Staying quiet for a moment, the young man starts planning his next moves for the future. Resting his head on his hand, he thinks about finding a safe home and a cool name for his dragon. Suddenly the girl rushes in with a scared face and shouts for him to check on the little pet. Panting heavily, the small red creature looks totally tired and is turning a very bright shade of red. Checking the thermometer, she realizes the temperature reached 40 degrees and says the dragon has a fever. Looking at the small red dragon, the guy feels worried since taking it to the school clinic would reveal its secret identity. Sweating from the stress, he decides that he must find a quick way to lower the burning temperature of the poor creature. Even after using wet towels and cooling pads, the thermometer reaches 60 degrees, which would kill any normal animal. Holding the shivering pet, the protagonist feels desperate while wondering what his next move should be in this crisis. With his red eyes glowing, he understands that his only choice now is to find a real doctor who can help them out. Outside the building, he tells his friend that acting alone is better to avoid drawing any unwanted attention to himself. As the young man walks away, a mysterious figure watches him from the shadows of the dark alleyway nearby. Staring through his sunglasses, the stranger recognizes that dirty bag and follows the boy with a suspicious look. Suddenly, a cute little dog on wheels runs toward the entrance of the emergency clinic while barking happily. Reaching the hospital, a female doctor in a white coat kneels down to welcome the small pup with open arms. While hugging the pet named Ruby, the lady praises her for completing the difficult rehabilitation tasks for the day. Some mean ladies nearby ask why she spends money on a disabled dog instead of selling expensive breeds with a discount. Feeling totally annoyed, the doctor thinks these boring people will never understand her true kindness and passion. Arriving at the clinic in a mask, the boy hears others calling her a weirdo because her parents died a long time ago. People leaving the building complain about the gloomy woman and her expensive medicine while calling her a total fraud. Resting in her clinic, the doctor sighs while thinking she might not be cut out for this job with no patients around. Suddenly, a loud noise echoes from the entrance while a mysterious hand grabs the door handle in the dark. Standing at the doorway, a dark silhouette appears and surprises the woman who was just relaxing with her dog. Staring with wide eyes, the girl looks confused because she did not expect a visitor to show up at this late hour. Wearing a mask, the stranger asks why that dog is so important to her while he stands there acting all mysterious. Getting defensive, the lady asks if he is a creep since he is asking such weirdly personal questions right away. Shouting her whole life story, she explains how the pup is her only family and even lost its legs to protect her. Watching her rant, the boy thinks it is funny because she basically told him everything despite saying she would not. Remaining silent for a moment, the mysterious guest looks down while the atmosphere in the room gets a bit heavy. Explaining his situation, the visitor says his own beast is sick and asks her to keep what happens next a total secret. Adjusting her glasses, the doctor promises to be quiet because she believes a good medic respects complex bonds. Feeling surprised by her weird reaction, the boy realizes she misunderstood him, but he continues with his plan anyway. Opening his backpack, he mentions that this creature also saved his life and deserves to be treated with care. Holding a tiny red lizard with a fever of 70 degrees, the boy begs the woman to save his dying friend. Seeing the strange little monster for the first time, both the lady and her pup are completely frozen in shock. Looking completely shocked, the girl asks if that creature really is a dragon since she cannot believe her eyes. Watching her closely, the mysterious guy with red eyes remains silent while keeping his identity hidden behind a mask. Feeling very nervous, she starts to sweat because she never expected to see a mythical beast in person. Explaining her situation, the doctor says dragons went extinct long ago and were never mentioned in her medical classes. Deciding to take action, she mentions the library might have old records and runs off to find some answers. Staring at her, the hooded boy says nothing while he observes every single move the lady makes in the room. Adjusting her glasses, the woman suggests he can follow her if he feels worried about leaving the pet alone. Thinking to himself, the masked teen decides this is a great test to see if the medic is actually trustworthy. Planning his next move, he also wants to deal with a strange creature that has been following him from the dorms. Sitting down comfortably, the visitor tells her he will wait there while holding the small red beast on his lap. Looking a bit confused, the lady simply agrees and prepares to leave the office to start her research. Hurrying out the door, she is followed by a little dog on wheels while the stranger watches them leave. Walking outside the hospital, she excitedly tells her pet that they just saw a real dragon for the first time. Smiling brightly, she tells the puppy that the world is still full of infinite possibilities and magic. Suddenly, a tall man wearing red glasses blocks her path and stares at the surprised girl in the middle of the night. Walking towards the tall guy, the lady with glasses looks confused as they meet up in the dark. Adjusting her glasses, she asks if he is being disrespectful, but she seems quite nervous about his presence. Straight to the point, the man demands to know exactly what the other person hid inside that messy bag earlier. Recalling the fight, he noticed how the boy protected the bag instead of himself because it holds a secret. Looking very serious, he insists on getting an answer since this could be linked to the missing person case. Standing her ground, the woman claims this is a private matter and refuses to share any details with him. Grabbing her shoulder, he claims his strength is over 10 times that of a human while threatening her to speak up. Applying more force, he says his beast power makes him even stronger, but the girl still tries to resist him. Even while suffering, she calls him an idiot and stays stubborn about keeping the secret hidden from him. Increasing the force of his grip, the bully asks again if she is ready to talk or if she needs more pain. Suddenly, a small corgi on wheels rushes into the scene while barking loudly to protect its owner. Cruelly stepping on the poor dog, the villain uses the pet to blackmail the lady into finally talking. Horrified by the sight, she screams the name of her pet while tears start to form in her worried eyes. Knowing how much the animal means to her, he threatens to hurt it more unless she spills the truth. Looking completely desperate, the woman realizes she has no choice but to give in to save her little friend. Suddenly, a rock flies through the air while the man with tiny glasses looks surprised by the sudden attack. Landing near his feet, the projectile shatters on the ground while the fighter keeps his distance from the rival. Smiling mockingly, the villain claims those were just cheap tricks since the hero finally stopped hiding his power. Standing tall in his black hoodie, the mysterious guy protects the scared assistant holding a small animal behind him. Feeling bad for the situation, the protagonist apologizes for dragging her into this mess while she was just busy. Looking away, he mentions she could have just told the truth to avoid getting into all this dangerous trouble. Sweating nervously, the lady reminds him that he was actually the one who told her to keep everything a secret. Lowering his head, the young man simply says thank you because he appreciates her loyalty during this fight. Touching his side, he asks if she can still find the data since the temperature already passed 70 degrees. Agreeing quickly, the woman starts running away to finish the task while the warrior prepares for the next round. Losing his temper, the muscular enemy throws a massive punch while screaming that he will not let her escape. Impact hits hard as a bright light flashes when the masked combatant manages to stop the powerful blow in time. Staring intensely through the cloth, the champion reveals a glowing eye that shows he is getting serious now. Shocked by the strength, the brute realizes the boy used a beast transformation to block his heavy fist just now. Coughing from the pressure, the main character stands his ground while blue energy swirls around his body. Unleashing a flurry of fast punches, the muscular man shouts that the defense will surely crumble soon. Effortlessly dodging the attacks, the hero watches the opponent and waits for the perfect moment to strike back. Thinking to himself, the boy realizes the enemy relies way too much on his animal form and has weak basic skills. Suddenly, a loud growl comes from the bag and the villain demands that the hidden creature be handed over right now. Looking down, the fighter notices his small red dragon friend is reaching its limit and cannot hold on much longer. Deciding to flee for now, he plans to lure the kangaroo man to a secluded spot and finish the battle without witnesses. With a face full of rage, the brute screams at the escaping kid and wonders if he truly believes he can get away. Grabbing his phone, the muscled attacker calls his boss to report that the target is hiding a rare hybrid monster. On the other side of the call, a mysterious person in a suit listens and promises to join the pursuit immediately. Standing with a giant fluffy black beast, the executive orders his team to bring the pet along for the hunt. Seeing a familiar face, the businessman looks annoyed and asks why the same person keeps appearing in his way. Running past everyone, the protagonist tells the others to move aside because he is in a massive hurry right now. Nearby, a man with a whip appears searching for his lost hound and demands that his partner be returned at once. Far in the distance, the chase continues through the dark park while voices yell for the running boy to finally stop. Tucked away inside the sack, the tiny dragon breathes heavily and its glowing eyes show that it is still hanging in there. Looking down, the masked man notices the heat is over 100 degrees as his breath burns like fire. Inside the reference room, a hand scans the shelves while searching for any records about dragons. Moving through the aisles, the scientist finds nothing at all since every single shelf is completely empty. Walking fast, she accidentally bumps into a mysterious girl who is wearing a black cap and dark clothes. Suddenly, a notebook falls to the floor and the lady tries to call out so the girl knows she dropped it. Without looking back, the stranger keeps walking away while her long silver hair sways in the wind. The researcher looks confused because she did not expect to see someone like that in this quiet place. On the cover of the old book, there is a funny drawing of a dragon that looks like a little kid made it. Back with the protagonist, he feels a strange energy and wonders if something important is about to happen. Opening the pages, the scientist realizes this is a secret diary filled with very complex notes and drawings. Her eyes widen as she finally finds the specific information she was looking for among all the messy text. Staring ahead, the masked guy seems to have a sudden realization that changes everything for him right now. Running across the grass, the boy carries his glowing bag while a huge muscular man chases him from behind. Grinning wildly, the big guy says there is nowhere left to hide and he is ready to finish the fight. Stopping for a moment, the young hero looks inside his backpack to see why it is glowing with so much heat. While reading her notes, the woman explains that young dragons get super hot, reaching 150 degrees. Suddenly, a massive enemy tries to strike the main character while shouting for him to just die. Grabbing the bag, the mysterious attacker expects to find something valuable inside, but it feels way too light. Looking at the item in his hand, the masked man seems confused as he realizes he got tricked. Opening the zipper reveals that there is absolutely nothing inside and his face shows total disappointment. Adjusting his glasses, the villain wonders where the real prize went because the bag is totally empty. Standing calmly in the shadows, the protagonist reveals his secret weapon while a small dragon growls nearby. Staring with glowing green eyes, the little creature looks ready to protect its owner at any cost. Seeing the reflection of the beast in his lenses, the enemy starts to feel a massive sense of dread. Activating the collar around its neck, the dragon prepares to release all that stored thermal energy at once. Remembering the lesson about dragon heat, the lady notes that they must release fire periodically to survive. Blasting a massive beam of orange flames, the tiny companion completely engulfs the entire area with heat. Screaming in pure agony, the target gets roasted by the intense power coming from the legendary creature. Echoing through the quiet city streets, the loud cry of the loser can be heard from many miles away. Watching the smoke rise, the boy and his pet look satisfied after dealing with the annoying masked threat. Desperate for his life, the man begs for mercy while promising to never tell anyone what he saw tonight. Coldly, the masked youth replies that only the dead can truly keep secrets as the victim tries to threaten him. Staring with glowing red eyes, the warrior claims he will simply get rid of anyone else who tries to interfere. Switching scenes, we see the large school building standing tall under the dark blue sky during the late hours. Looking around frantically, the female doctor wonders where the boy and his pet could have gone. Adjusting her glasses, the woman explains that the rise in body temperature is actually a very normal sign. Appearing suddenly, the mysterious teen confirms the fever is gone while the small creature shivers on his shoulder. Feeling a huge wave of relief, the lady can barely contain her emotions after seeing they are both safe. Walking away, the protagonist mentions the trouble is not over yet, but he will use this time to prepare. Removing his hat, the young man asks if he can hire her to be the private medic for his little companion. Feeling insecure, the doctor claims she is just a nobody and does not have the skills to treat such a creature. Smiling gently, the boy calls her the best medic he knows while the pet lets out a tiny burp in response. Handing over an object, the woman mentions finding a special item dropped by a mysterious girl earlier. Looking totally shocked, the protagonist stares at the item and realizes it is a guide for raising dragons. Holding the book carefully, he sees a cute drawing on the cover which seems to contain very important secrets. In the dark night, a massive black monster stands before the injured boy while a cruel man watches everything nearby. Lying on the cold ground, the young fighter demands his pet back despite being covered in wounds and feeling much pain. Yawning with boredom, the rich boss insults the poor guy and orders the giant beast to finish him off right there. Looking directly at the sharp teeth of the creature, the student freezes in fear as the monster prepares to attack him. Suddenly, an older worker with a bottle arrives and asks the leader to spare the kid for the sake of an old man. Later on, a girl with glasses explains that staying in the dorm is dangerous since enemies are searching everywhere. Walking together, the group feels relieved and the girl with dark hair celebrates the small victory with a loud shout. Arriving at the destination, they find an abandoned campus that will serve as a secret base for their next big moves.